Hey guys, Tom here, and welcome back to another video on the Racing Joker channel. Today, we're doing another episode of The Garage. It's still raining. So anyways, today we're talking about movies. So this is especially relevant for two reasons. There's the Ford versus Ferrari movie. I've already kind of discussed that in its own video, but this is a Garage episode. And also Fast and Furious 9. We're going to be discussing if it's even possible to make a good car movie anymore. We got the Fast and the Furious, but first we're going to start with the Ford versus Ferrari movie, which apparently was called Le Mans something in other countries. Someone verify that in the comments below, but I think it had a different name overseas, which is interesting. So, the Ford versus Ferrari movie. Will it be a good car movie? In my opinion, it was. They did focus a lot more on the cars and the technical stuff than I would have expected. So it is definitely a movie for car guys. Yeah, we all know that they still made some mistakes for the sake of making a movie, just like in the Fast and the Furious. But I think they did a good job. Ford versus Ferrari and other movies like Baby Driver, for instance, suggest that we still can make good car movies that appeal to not just car guys, but ordinary people as well. The reason why I say this is because I've gone to see the movie with family members and people that aren't necessarily car people. They're either interested in cars or they just want to see a good movie, or people that don't know anything about cars but still like them. They like cars that are cool, and so people might like Ferraris or Fords or Corvettes or whatever. You get the idea. And so they were able to enjoy the movie despite there being a lot of heavy-handed technical stuff. It wasn't super technical from a car guy's perspective, but it was definitely more technical than the Fast and the Furious. And it was more technical than Baby Driver as well, but Baby Driver and Ford vs. Ferrari are both, I would say, in terms of being movies, very successful. I don't know how much money they've made, but they were both very, very good. Now, we all know that the Fast and the Furious aren't really car movies anymore. That's not what they're about. It's about family and how a person who stole DVDs in 2001 has turned into a world-class superhero, supervillain person that can survive things that Superman wouldn't. So Ford versus Ferrari and Baby Driver, in short, I would say, yes, we can still make a good car movie, while still kind of focusing on the cars. The people behind the Fast and the Furious decided to not focus on cars anymore for a few reasons. And this is based on what I remember, based on my knowledge and conversations with people like Craig Lieberman, Sean Morris, those sorts of people, and just my understanding of how companies act in order to make money. The Fast and the Furious, the first one, made a lot of money. Too Fast and Furious did okay, but not as good. And the Tokyo Drift made the smallest amounts of money compared to every other film in the franchise. And that Tokyo Drift was the one film that was the most focused on cars. And so investors, producers, the studio, everyone behind it had to take a seat and think, why did that happen? Why didn't we make as much money? And so they had to redo the formula. And so they decided to not focus on cars quite so much because they figured that might have been the reason why people didn't enjoy it as much. I enjoyed it, but maybe not everyone else did. And so they did Fast and Furious, the fourth one. They redid the whole recipe. They brought back Vin Diesel and they made it more of an action movie. And they made it focus more on Latino crowds and stuff like that. And they immediately noticed that this new recipe made a lot of money and that it was more popular in Latin America and a lot of other places like that. And so they decided, you know what, we're going to bank on this. And suddenly these movies are making $1 billion each. If something isn't broken, why fix it? When you've got $1 billion on the line, and you've got to be making money for investors and all those sorts of people, why change it? Why would you change it? Would you change it? As a story writer, as a car guy, you might go, well, I want to experiment. I want to try something new. But that's not what these movies are about. These movies aren't about really mixing things up. I mean, come on. John Cena is Dom's brother. If that's the only twist we're getting in the movie. So, that said, I will watch it and I'll probably enjoy it, but I won't be going to see the Fast and the Furious 9 because I think it's going to be a good car movie. They could make the last one, assuming it'll be the last one, Fast 10, Furious 10, the family of the Furious Fast 10. the 10th, 10 of 10, they could make that a car movie or focus a little more on it, you know? Or they kind of focus on the next generation. I mean, it's wishful thinking, but they could bring back some of the old cars. They could say, Brian left this for you. They could bring CGI Brian in one last time and have like a good father-son moment where he gives the keys to the Skyline, the Supra, or just a car to his kids. How many kids does he have? I can't remember. And do something like that and focus it and actually wrap up the story without adding on extra stuff. I don't know what you would make it about. I don't know what the deal is with Cypher. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on. John Cena. I don't know. I think it's still possible to save the franchise and make the last movie a bit of fan service to the original fans for just a one last time thing. Go back to Los Angeles, visit some of the old filming locations, have some of the old actors. Bring Jesse back, for God's sake. You brought Han back and he blew up. Jesse was shot. That should be nothing. I mean, everyone's been shot in this franchise and they're fine. So, yeah. Maybe we should make a car movie. I don't know what we would call it, but maybe we should make a car movie. I'm a writer. I could probably write a decent story. Would you guys want to see that? How would we do that? I think with the Fast and the Furious, because it's the 10th one, I would say they should make the 10th movie. Well, here's the thing. Now that the universe is... Neighbors. Now that the 10th movie... Because of the way the universe is now, in the Fast and the Furious franchise, there's super villains, superheroes, and things like that. It would feel weird to suddenly go back to focusing on ordinary people, going about their lives, learning how to drive, street racing, and stuff like that. It just wouldn't gel with it anymore. It would feel out of place. And making a whole movie about it would be hard, but you could potentially do it with the kids of Dom and Brian, where it's like almost a coming-of-age story, where you've got Dom and Brian trying to maybe keep their kids out of the lives they led, keep them from becoming criminals. Maybe they even try to stop them from street racing, you know? Imagine that as a conflict, where, because imagine there being a conflict where the children of Dom and Brian want to go out street racing, and Dom and Brian don't want them to do that because they don't want them to lead a life of crime like they did. They don't want them to be in constant danger, even though they probably already are. I mean, that could be it. You could have the movie starting with Brian and whoever the other kids are sneaking out in their cars, and they could be simple tuner cars, ratty tuner cars, despite them having millions and millions of dollars, and going out and street racing and coming back home to Brian and Dom being like,
"What the fuck were you last night?"
And grounding them and taking their keys from them, and having that be a conflict and saying, we don't want you to lead the life that we did and be in the same danger that we did. We made stupid decisions. We don't want you to do the same thing. And them having to let go a little bit because, for one thing, they're probably already in danger anyways because they're kids and they have people gunning for them all the time. So they'd have to come to terms with that and just protect them however they can and try and get them to become better drivers and just have that be... That could be a good story. The coming of age of those kids and the starting of a new generation, which then would make it very easy for Universal to make another series of movies. That's how I would do it. And I can't copyright this story idea, but that's how I would do it. I think that would be the best way to finish the saga of 10 movies. So anyways, let me know what you guys think, what your story ideas might be. I do have my garage open, so when people drive by, it's a bit noisy. Thank you guys so much for watching today's episode of The Garage. Is it possible to make a good car movie? I think so. Is the Fast and Furious making good car movies? No. But they're not necessarily terrible movies. It's like watching Grand Theft Auto, basically. Except a little bit more ridiculous. But let me know what you guys think. How would you finish the franchise? What do you think of my story idea? I already know what many of you think of the franchise, so we don't need to talk about that. But I'm sure many of you will. Thank you so much for watching for the upteenth time, and I will see you guys in the next episode of The Garage. Take it easy and keep it crazy. I'm Tom the Racing Joker, signing out. Bye.